Hey guys, how's it going? I wanted to make a video regarding the drivability of my car and some tune fixes that I was going to make. Right now, if I have my car in gear and I let off the gas, it'll basically stall out. And I don't want it to do that. I want it to drive itself under its own power, kind of like a stock car would, like a stock 6-speed car. First gear, in gear, let off the gas, and I want it to just pull itself. Right now, if I do that, it'll just stall out. One thing that a lot of tuners don't really like, when you go and get your car tuned at a shop, they just basically, the initial idle, they make it run. They don't set it up for drivability, and that's really what we're correcting today. When you slap a supercharger on a car, it's pulling at the crank, and your car is naturally going to have less power with a stock tune. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it more power inside that like 1,000 to 2,000 RPM range so that it can pull itself like a normal car would. You're going to see that I'm going to go through and we're going to correct this. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment to help support my channel if this is helpful to you in any way. If you have any questions, comment them. I'm very responsive. I would be more than happy to help you with any issues that you're having. Thanks for watching. Alright, so for this video, I want to first show you guys what the problem is. And the problem is this. The car isn't capable of powering itself under its own throttle. See how the car's like stumbling? I want to modify it so it pulls under its own power. Because right now it's not doing that, and it's annoying, and it's jerking the car around. And other than that, it functions pretty well, but I'm not satisfied with its throttle output at idle. So we're gonna modify. I'm gonna end up having to drive back home, but I'm gonna modify the throttle, or the minimum air produced out of the throttle body at low RPMs. We're gonna raise it up so that we don't run into that problem anymore and it pulls on its own. But I wanted to film this for you guys before I go and change that, so you can see what the problem is. I know, just from my experience when I try to look stuff up online, I need to know what the problem is, otherwise it's really hard to figure out. I'll show you one more time right here, but if I put it in first, see, it kind of like, if I don't give it gas, it like slugs. So we're gonna crank that up. I already got it modified in my laptop, so I really just gotta pull up to my house and fix it. So we're gonna do that right now. Alright, so what I did, I'll show this on the computer. Actually, I can tell that you guys can't tell anything. Alright guys, so this is what I modified. You basically go to airflow, well, engine, and then airflow, and then general, and you go to minimum engine airflow. And in the beginning, I modified in this range, but by the end, I modified all of this. What I'll do is I'll show what I ended up with, but really I cranked this probably at least 50% increase, almost double. And I did see some changes, as you're going to see in the video. I don't want to cut out too much so you can kind of see, but I basically did increments throughout the video of 15 to 20% and increased this until I got it in a good range. All right. So I'm going to plug in.
Uniden. X-band. K-band. Ka-band. Laser. GPS connected.
So I increased the idle from 776 to 800, and then I upped the minimum engine airflow by 10% between 0 and 2000 RPMs. So we should see a slight change here.
But I was kind of conservative on what I did, so we'll see how it changes. All right, we're done with our right. Let's see what it does. So I just tested it. It's still really underpowered. To the point that I don't even see a change. I mean, I'll show you right here. It seems better, but like not nearly what I'm looking for here. I think I'm gonna give it another 10%. I might do 15% because it's still really low. So I gave it 15% at the low range, and I gave it 10% at 2,000 RPMs. So I should see a change here. I feel like the low range is really low right now, and that's kind of our problem. So let's see what it does. I mean, right now, I haven't gone slow yet. I have a car behind me, but it feels better just from feeling it out. It feels more like a factory car. That's really what I'm shooting for here, is that factory feeling. So let's go right here. Put it in first, see what it does. It's slugging hard though still. I feel like it needs just like way more, dude. I feel like going extreme with it and seeing what it does. I'm gonna go down this cul-de-sac, do a U-turn. I feel like the oscillation's starting to come back though, like somehow this is affecting that. But we'll figure that out later. Alright, so I just cranked the shit out of it. So if I don't see a change here, something's wrong. Alright, I drove back to my house. I don't know why I wasn't connecting, but who knows. Let's stick it back in and give it a shot. Unplug that, close this. I hear my dog barking. She's probably like, come inside. Holy shit, it's actually pulling now. So what that tells me is we're going in the right direction. I want more though. Like right now we're like right on the edge of like stalling out. So we're gonna crank it up a little bit more. Alright, we'll try that. Although I am not afraid to go haywire with this and just crank, because I feel like it's still really low. Let's shut this off. Like, I never want this thing to, like, even think about stalling it at a roll. I'm so sick, like, I don't understand why it was ever set up this way. Honestly, like, tuning and messing with these values is like a drug. Because you finally get to, like, fix your car and have it the way you want it. I can't imagine being somebody that doesn't sit there and mess with their tune. Like, the community has people terrified of doing this, and I just don't understand it. I mean, it's not like I'm messing with the values at, like, full wide open throttle. Like, I'm not gonna damage anything. But yeah, you can definitely damage something if you're screwing with the air fuel ratio at full wide open and the timing and stuff like that. But all I'm doing is telling the car to open the throttle body more at idle. And bada bing, bada boom. Close this, close that, save this. Shut that off, unplug this, shut the laptop. Alright, let's take it out.
Uniden.
Okay, let's see what it does. So, I mean, it's kind of doing what I want it to do, but like, I'm surprised at that big of a change that I just did, that it's not. I don't know. I'm still not really satisfied. So we're gonna mess with it more. I mean, I don't really like it. But it's better. I mean, really what I want is this thing to just make you go, dude. Like, I want some minimum throttle, dude. Like, and when you hit the gas, it, like, I don't know. We might have to mess with it a little bit more. Alright, so I'm changing minimum throttle, which is 0.4. We're gonna put that to 6. See if that does anything. It should. Alright. Alright, so what I'm talking about here with minimum throttle, I'm talking about this minimum desired throttle. It's under airflow, electronic throttle, and minimum desired throttle. Initially, I put this at 0.06.
And I believe at the end I put it at 0.07. But at the end of the video, I'm going to go and I'm going to show you exactly what the changes I made with my final tune.
I mean, it's better now, but it's like when you let off the gas, it's like it like goes in a slug, dude. Like it just loses power instantly. I hate that. But when you're in gear at that low speed and you hit the gas, it like, I don't know, it goes into like a slug. It feels better now, but like, am I happy with it? Not really. When you let go of the gas in first, it just like in this range, well, in second gear it'll definitely stall. I think any car would do that, but it's almost like it needs like fuel. I don't know, man. I just noticed a field for rolling, moving, idle, and I set that to 1,000. So now it should hold at 1,000 no matter what it's doing.
GPS connected.
I didn't know there was a separate field. Let's download. We should see a definite difference now. Like, no joke. Because really anything lower than that, it's like gonna try to stall. So I mean, at 776, which is what it was at before, it's just too low. I mean, the car's like struggling. I'm giving it fuck tons of air. It's doesn't like that shit.
Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about this rolling idle. The field for that is under idle, RPM, and then rolling. Now let me cut to the chase in the video. What I end up doing initially is I tried raising this base idle, and that doesn't really do anything in my experience. I think this is really what controls your idle, because initially I put all of these to initially I put it at like 1,000, and it was holding at 1,000 and ignored the low base idle. So what I ended up doing in the end, I'm gonna kind of ruin the video, but I put this to like a high idle, and then I left this at 800, so that when I'm completely stopped at 0 miles an hour, the car will go down to 800 RPMs. But if I'm ever moving in gear, it'll maintain whatever idle I put in this field here. So that's really, I think, the big fix in this video, that I figured out what the problem was. So go ahead and check the video out and you'll see.
Alright, this should be the moment of truth, because right now we got some shit jacked up now. Okay, moment of truth. Yeah, now it's holding at 1,000 RPMs. You should be able to see that. And now we have like, it won't stall out in first. About goddamn time. And I think I jacked up the car when I modified those other values to like so high. It's like the car's getting too much air now and not enough fuel at low RPMs. Okay, so I reverted my airflow values back, not all the way. I put them about 25% over what they were when I started, which is a lot less than what I changed. And just so you guys understand, I'm talking about these values here, the minimum engine airflow. I reverted them back down, and I'll show you at the end of the video exactly what I set them to. I had them really high, like 100, and you know, in the beginning it was only like 23, so I really changed those values. And I felt like it didn't make a huge change, so I set them kind of back to where I started. Not back to where I started, but a little bit higher to help the motor get a little bit more air at low RPMs. I set the minimum rolling idle to 1100 RPMs, which should be interesting. We'll give it a shot, see what it does. I think this is what I'm looking for, though. And then my normal idle is like 1000, rolling idle is 1100. So we'll see what it does. I think this is gonna give me a good setup. Let's see what this does. I have a check engine light on now. That's interesting. I like this better. I gotta check that check engine light though. I'm probably gonna leave it here and give it a more of a, we could take it for a drive actually. We'll go around the block. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the check engine light. If you try to do a download on your car and you don't have an internet connection, it throws like 5 codes. So that's what the check engine light was. I went and checked it off camera, and I just cleared them and we moved on. Alright, so it's the next day. We're going to... I changed something in the idle airflow. It's supposed to reduce the amount of throttle it pulls out when you release the gas pedal. So that should stop it from being so jerky. But we'll see. So the field I'm talking about is this rolling integral step. I first set it to 0.1, and then I think I lowered it to 0.08. You'll see at the end of the video when I pull up the final tune. But what this does is it reduces the amount of throttle that the car pulls out when you release the gas pedal. So instead of it, when you release, it'll you know, the car would jerk when not really jerk, but just like pull all the throttle and start slowing down really fast. What this does is it reduces it from just instantaneously pulling it out. I cut it in almost half, and it made the car feel much better, as you're going to see in the video.
GPS connected.
It's better. Alright, so I just made some adjustments to proportional drive, very little, and then I modified the idle field, the decay field, by a little bit. And one thing I did do is I set 0 speed to, I think, 900 RPMs. So we might get I want to see if the idle levels off at 0 speed, and then anything over 2 miles an hour, it should hold 1100 RPMs. Really, that was the goal from the beginning. I'm gonna go over all of this when I'm done. I might put videos in between each segment. There's some oscillation, but feel like I should log this. Alright, we're gonna start scanning now. Stop scanning. Okay, we're gonna take a look at that. So right here, I messed with VSS speed. We raised it. All right, so I wanted to talk about what we were changing here. In the initial file, we changed more stuff here. But anyways, VSS speed. We changed these values. These were the initial values. They were 1.5 and 1. We changed them to 3 and 7. That has something to do with the fuel cutoff, at what mile per hour it does it at. We raised it on both of them, and then the disable RPM we lowered to 1500 RPMs. I didn't want to make it lower than the idle itself while we're in gear, but I left it there. It may make a big difference if we lower this to like 1,000. But we didn't do that. So that's what I'm talking about with VSS speed. We tried changing that a little bit. There's some fueling issues though when I hit the gas at low speed. No, I'm curious, if I put the clutch in and stop, will the car go down in idle? Yeah, it does. Alright, so one adjustment I want to do, a couple things. Now that I have confirmed that my RPM is going down to 800 when I'm stopped, I'm going to modify the rolling RPM in all ranges to 1200. Actually, 1250 will do, because that'll hold the idle where I want it to be. Under fueling, transient, something has to be done here. Acceleration gain, coolant temp. See, we're warm. At this low RPM, I'm raising it by 20%. Okay, I fucked that up. So we raised that by 20%. Let me make sure what I just did stuck. Okay. Let's do a save here. We should see a huge difference now. And close that. This should be all I need to do. But you never know, we'll find out. Alright, so I want to talk about this really quick, this transient fueling. I did this in a previous video where my throttle, it wasn't getting enough fuel, and it was going, my AFR was going to like 30. When I was like hard on the gas and the engine was struggling to make throttle. I felt that experience when I was at idle and I was slamming the gas. So what I did is I went and modified that again. So you could see here, this is what we started with. I think I only raised it by 20%, like I said in the video. But I'm going to click this. This shows the final tune. And you can see it goes from 80 to 95. And it wasn't a lot. Like you could see in here, it's only going from like 19 to 22. But I only did it in this range at the very low RPMs. I could have probably went higher with it. But I saw my AFR was going to like 17, and in my experience, if you do about 20% at that range, it'll get it to where it needs to be.
And if you see the final, this is the compare, so the actual change. I only change it by like 0.03 point, you know what I mean? So just in this range, I changed it just to give it that extra fuel at the low RPMs when I'm accelerating. That's what this table does. But I have another video out there on my channel if you want to see me modifying these tables.
All right, we're on the road. We let off the gas. Now it holds it at 1250, which makes our minimum speed 10 miles an hour. I like that. Kind of surges a little for a second, but it's kind of like a huge we're gonna modify our integral min and max. So we're modifying our integral min and max. This should slow down the amount of aggressiveness that the car experiences when it's trying to correct itself, and it should hold the idle a little bit harder. So let's see what that does. If it starts surging like crazy, which is highly possible. We'll fix it. We'll revert.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. If you go under idle, airflow, that's what I'm talking about, the proportional drive and integral max, integral min. What this does is it smooths out the engine's response to trying to target a value. So like right now, I have my idle set to 1250. So what's happening is the car naturally tries to go down in RPM, and these tables try to tell it to maintain a certain value. So by modifying integral max and min, you're basically telling it not to like sit there and like fight it. This is basically telling it to hold it a little bit better. So I'll show you the changes I made. Initially it was 22.11.777. And I changed and I increased these significantly so that it's not trying to fight the idle and like target, hard target it over and over. That's why my car's going whoa, because the computer's trying to like constantly maintain 1250. Well, this is slowing that aggressiveness down. So that's why we did this. Here it was initially -30, and I changed it to -25. On this table, it was, like I said, 22.11.777. I made it 22.18, 15, 15, 15. And this is like the difference in speed, or the speed at which the integral is commanding. So that's what we did there. On the proportional drive, I didn't really change a whole lot. If you look at the compare, the values only changed by 1, 2, 2, 2. But this is what it was at. And then I changed it to this. So this table tells you the difference between the two tunes. This is the initial. That's what we changed it to. And then on this one, I don't think it changed. Yeah, it only changed by 1 also. So I made very slight changes. I didn't want to mess with it too much because it'll also affect the natural idle when your car's just sitting there. Also, like when you put the clutch in, I initially changed these tables in another video, and the reason I did it was because I was getting surging when I put the clutch in. The car was like wah 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 going crazy, so I had to modify these already, so I kind of knew what was going on with them. So yeah.
Alright, let's see what it does. Oh yeah, it like... You could tell once it finds its place, it kind of holds it now a little bit stronger. but it does kind of like. So I'm modifying this deceleration fuel cutoff at, it's at 2000 right now. I'm gonna change it to 1500. I think that's gonna kind of keep the car fueled a little bit longer. It's better. I mean, I still don't understand why it's not holding fuel or holding throttle, but it's way more drivable. It feels like it has more power at the lower RPMs.
Okay, so I just want to go over exactly what we changed in the end. We'll start here. Idle, like that was the last thing we looked at. I changed these tables. Let's see. Not by much. This is initial. That was the final. Integral max. Initial. We changed this one quite a bit, but this one we reduced by 5. The change you can see here. Not by much. This integral roll step, we started at 15, 0.15, and we ended at 0.09. So not a lot changed there. But that did make a difference as far as like how hard the car decelerates. That's probably one of the big changes we did there. We close these. Idle, airflow, RPM, base. Like I said, this is 776 initially. I changed it to 1000, but I don't think this field does anything. This rolling table is what actually does everything. And initially it was like 1100. And then final, I set it here. I have the anytime the car is moving now, it's at 1248 minimum. Big change here. It probably made the biggest difference to give the car some power while it's rolling and moving. Highly recommend everyone does this, and you put whatever idle you want the car to be at 0 right here. Okay, moving along. Airflow, we looked at that, I think, right? Yeah. Nothing there, nothing there. Okay. Under the airflow tab, electronic throttle, we lowered, or we raised, I'm sorry. It started at 0.4 or 0.04. We put it at 0.08. That tells the throttle to be slightly more open when you're not pushing the pedal. That gives it a little bit more gas when you're sitting there not doing anything with the gas pedal. Highly recommend. I don't think there's anything in here. Under fuel, this tells it to read a different table basically when you have that enabled. It started at 2000. I lowered it to 1500. A lot of what I read online told me to put it even lower. I didn't do that, but because I raised the idle so high, I didn't want to mess with it too much. But we did put this at 7 miles an hour and 3 miles an hour. You can experiment with that if you want. Let's see. Did we look at this already? I thought I messed with something else. Oh, transient. This is the table we modified to give it more fuel when you're like in acceleration, basically when you hit the gas pedal. This will tell it to insert more fuel to the motor. So I raised this up. You can see I showed this earlier, but I gave it 20% on this table because I was like, the car was like pulling timing and like not really fueling properly when I was hitting the gas. So we raised this up. I could probably give it a little more, but it felt significantly better after I changed this. I mean, you saw in the video, like initially I would hit it and it would bog and pull timing. Second I changed this table, I hit the gas and it was like instantaneous power. So I mean that's pretty huge. You want to do that. And I think that that is all we changed. Let me see. I'll jump through here really quick. I don't think I changed anything. Idle, RPM, showed that, showed that. Um, and rolling idle. Yeah, obviously I showed that. Yeah. So yeah, I think that that is all we changed in this video, but I may mess with it later to try to tune it a little bit tighter. But for now, the car, I mean, prior to the what we did in this video, the car wasn't pulling under its own power. I would have it in first gear and it would just stall if I went slow enough. Big problem. The car had no power at low RPMs. It would just I was scared to hit the gas pedal like I was gonna blow something up. And I think that a lot of that had to do with it not having enough fuel at low RPMs. Something to consider is when you put a supercharger in a motor and they leave all these values stock, you have a supercharger pulling against the crank. So like you're gonna need more fuel at lower RPMs. You're gonna need more air. You're gonna need, and honestly, in my opinion, you need more RPM to give it a little bit more power. If you leave it the way it was, it's not gonna function right. You're gonna have a terrible idle, like while in gear, because like I said, you have a extra 80 horsepower pulling against the crank or whatever, roughly 80 horsepower. You know, it takes 80 horsepower to turn that supercharger. So like you gotta have a little bit more power to be able to pull. So and because of that, you need more fuel, you need more air, and when a tuner goes and leaves all these things stock, your car is gonna run poorly, and that's really what I've been experiencing in like normal drivability. So yeah, if you have any questions, go in the comments. Please like and subscribe the video if you got any gain out of this video. And I appreciate the views. Thanks.